everybody. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? You could just say it in the chat so I'll be able to figure out if I'm audible or not. Alright. Okay. So good evening, everybody. I'm really excited. Yeah, thank you, Foodhouse Ninja, for that. Thank you, Samuel. Right. So I want us to get started. I want us to be out of here by 9 p.m. at least. By 9 p.m. That's what I'm targeting for. So good evening, Ejikeme. Good evening, Grace. Hello, Grace. How far now? I'll use that as an example today. All right. Good evening, Johnson. Okay. So I don't know if the YouTube link is working. If anybody is on the YouTube link. All right. So welcome to the Food Revenue Engine, how to build your business, your food business without guesswork. And I want to give you a bit of introduction, but I will still do that later on. But I want to give you a bit of introduction as to why I'm actually doing this. Why exactly am I doing this? And prior to starting my business, prior to doing everything that I did with my business and growing my business, I was in let's say in the shoes of a lot of you here, where I started on WhatsApp, started posting on WhatsApp before I moved to one location, moved to a second location. And my passion has always been to break down these steps, because most times a lot of people do not actually teach these things, right? They don't actually teach these things. All right, I think the YouTube link is not live. Come in, let me share that link. All right. Okay, so let's get started. So welcome to this insightful webinar. I'm Daniel Buti. I'm the founder of Shaomali. I don't know how many of you guys know about Shaomali. If you know about Shaomali, just give me a thumbs up, so I'll be able to know that we are moving. And I've also started various other businesses in my little time around. I've started various other businesses. Hey, Pamela, you know about Shaomali? That's really cool. I'm happy. Okay. Thank you. I'm not actually cold. It's just the weather. The weather is actually really cold here, so I'm trying my best to be audible. All right. So in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to actually teach you my exact strategy on how to build a millionaire food business without guesswork. And I actually want you, and at the end of I promised you guys a bonus already of at least 12,000 naira. And this is only for those who will be able to watch till the end of this class, because it might be quite long, depending on how you guys are used to classes. But I'm just trying as much as possible to share knowledge here. So I hope it's worth your time, right? It will only be shared at the end of the class. And I know there are distractions all around us, but the strategy I'm about to share with you can change your life. And I actually mean it, because it has changed my life, at least in a certain direction, and I do not want you to miss out on a single crucial step. So please, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. I've always been emphasizing it throughout the course of the entire time I've been on the group. Get your notepad, ensure you're not distracted, close out of TikTok, stop checking your email. I just want you to give me your attention just for this short amount of time. All right, just for 1 hour. Just give me attention for 1 hour, so that I can be able to make progress and don't get distracted by the chats, right? In as much as possible that we are trying to make it, as interactive as possible, but I don't want us to lose track and lose focus. I know that I said we should ask questions, but let's just reserve our questions for the end of the webinar when I'll be able to like take the questions and then answer it step by step. My goal is for us to be done here by 9 p.m. Everybody should be done here by 9 p.m. and I know that I've given you guys everything that I have. So um, so in this kind of training, only 10% of participants will get value because I've done this kind of trainings a lot, and most times people who just join to have fun, right? They just join to see, to be part of the movement, to be part of what everybody else is doing. But I know that only 10% of people actually get value because they're actually willing to implement whatever is being taught, and those are the kind of people that I'm actually talking to. Those people who are serious about making money in their business. So for this session, I'm only speaking to those 10% of people who are actually serious about leveling up their business. And to the question that everybody must be asking, right? Why, except for those who, because I know some people here know me already, but for people who do not, you're probably wondering why I am actually qualified to teach you how to make money, at least how to make 1 million naira in revenue in your business, at least. So you're wondering why I'm qualified to teach this. So 4 years ago, actually 5 years ago, I actually started a food business in my bedroom. I was in the university at that time, um, and I started this shawarma in my bedroom, and I actually took 30,000 naira from my friend at that time because I did not have the money to actually just get the materials to actually use and start selling. And over the period of that time till now, I've been able to progress from that small bedroom operation to I've been able to progress from that small bedroom operation to where I am now, right? And I did not know how to cook professionally. Anybody who knows me personally knows I did not know how to cook, at least not professionally. I did not go to any would I say culinary school, and I never start because I had a passion for food, as most of you guys already do. And I was so amazed at the passion that I saw in terms of the people, like the different kinds of people. A lot of people are already, chefs, right? They already have food brands, and I was not anything like that. I just started because I wanted to learn how to sell. I wanted to learn how to make money. That was why I started my business, not because I loved food in any way. And that is why I'm not in any way restrictive of this knowledge, right? Because I'm not the kind of person to hoard knowledge. I wanted to learn how to sell and I figured it out. So why not share that knowledge, right? So the question of how to sell actually plagued me for a lot of years, and from the period of when I started in my bedroom, right, selling on WhatsApp, doing pre-orders, carry my shawarma to school to go and sell. I actually struggled for a while because of certain things, right? And I want to be able to give you the answers on how I was able to, from moving my shawarma and doing pre-orders to be able to like have my stores or able to have my outlets functioning and be able to producing revenue and each one of them doing their numbers, right? So that is what I want to basically share here. And would I say most times I attended a lot of courses. These things that you guys are here attending, I've attended a lot of courses and many workshops on business, and most times no one wants to actually share with you how they got to where they are. It's just what it is, right? Nobody wants to share with you that competitive advantage or what makes them special in business. They will teach you things like how to run a restaurant, food costing, and from the survey that we did, at least one person said that they want to also learn how to do food costing, right? This is not the webinar for that. This webinar is just for how to increase your revenue, right? How to increase your revenue. That's what just this webinar is about. Because there are a lot of webinars, a lot of seminars that will teach you how to run your restaurants, how to do food costing, very important stuff. But nobody's telling you how to get customers. And what I realize is that most of them are getting there by guesswork and luck, right? Most of them just open their shop in a very good location and they announced that they started to get customers, right? Or most of them just happen to post one piece of content, and then that piece of content blew up, and now they have customers. So there is no system to how they did it. They just happen to be at the right place at the right time. And what I noticed is, if you follow their instructions, you're going to actually get stuck, because no one can actually program luck. No one can program, if you got lucky, you cannot program that. You cannot program it, right? And I use my business as an experiment, which I have proven to work. And it's not just theory. And I said, I gave you guys an example on the group chat that there was a period of time where my business actually went down. We are doing numbers, and my outlets started dropping because I was no longer available in the business for legal reasons. I had a little challenge here and there, and I could not be active in my business. And from my business doing a lot of numbers to doing less than 200k in a month, and that is concerning. So when I came back to the business and I started implementing most of this stuff that I'm going to tell you guys today, I actually went back up there, right? So this stuff I'm telling you is not luck, right? It's actually a system that if you apply, it's going to work regardless of where you are, regardless of the place you are at, right? So there are going to be caveats here and there, but it's not going to be like different. This is what nobody's going to be telling you. I'm very honest with you. Nobody's going to be teaching you this stuff, because if they teach you this stuff, and if everybody starts doing it, right, the market is going to get very saturated very quickly. So you guys should be happy that you're actually here, where I'm going to be breaking down this stuff for you. And this part is actually really funny, because there was a period of time where we are actually doing a lot of numbers, right, in terms of revenue. And I went to go and barb my hair one day, and then the barber at that time, because he head of my brand, right, was asking me if I use jazz for my business, or what charm did I use to grow my business. That time, when somebody it just seems like somebody just blew overnight, right? He was asking me what jazz I use to grow my business. But to be honest with you, it's not jazz now, right? It's not jazz. There's no charm, right? I'm really skeptical of people that say, oh, this restaurant, they're using jam, this restaurant is using jazz. I just feel it's just being lazy, right? Because there are things they are doing that you're not seeing, and it's those things that make the difference. You don't have to generalize and say that, oh, because this person they are doing numbers in their business, this chef is doing good, they are doing good, they are doing jazz, right? It's just lazy assessment. And one thing about secrets is that once you learn them, you can't unlearn them, right? They are with you forever. Once you learn this secret I'm about to teach with you, right? Like, you can discharge me, you can tell me that you don't need me again, and it's fine, because you have learned it. You can never unlearn them. And so, what I want you to do for me now is, I want you to imagine what your life would look like if you know how to increase the sales in your business. I want you to dream big, right? Imagine how your life would change if that small business of yours can grow into an outlet, can grow into two outlets, can grow into three outlets. Just imagine how it's going to be like, depending on your vision for your business. Do you want to be like Hilda Baci, or Hilda Basi, sorry, not Hilda Baci, Hilda Basi, or do you want to be like a renowned chef, or do you want to have a lot of outlets like McDonald's or Chicken Republic? So I want you to have that vision for yourself, right? I want you to see what it's going to be like for you to increase the sales in your business. My business became a household name in my city. If you come to Just right and ask for Sharmali, right? At least if you ask in the university area, there's nobody who does not know Sharmali, at least in my opinion. And it has made my life so much easier, just in terms of, the more people know about me, the more they buy from me, and the more they buy from me, the more money I make. So it just makes things better for me. So I want you to imagine what your life would look like if you had that. If you came to Abuja, we came to Lagos, and we um, heard of your business. How would that make your life look like, right? Would you live large? So I want you to put that picture at the back of your mind, because that vision that you have for yourself is what is going to make you to implement and work towards the things I'm going to tell you. Because no matter what I'm going to tell you today, if you're not willing to implement it, if you're taking time and saying that, oh, I'm going to implement this in the next 1 week, in the next 3 weeks, in the next 2 months, you're not going to achieve what you need to achieve. So I really, really need you to put in the effort, to implement. I'm more about implementation than just learning. Learning is for anybody can say that they have learned something, but the true course of intelligence is the fact that you learn something and your behavior changes as a result of what you have learned. That is the true test of intelligence, right? No, everybody, anybody can call themselves smart, but the people who are truly smart are the people who change their behavior as a result of what they learn. So how do you build your business from whatever stage it is to a millionaire business? This is the this is the millionaire question, and I've spent a lot of time introducing myself. So before I even go into this, I actually want to add that the reason why I am doing this is you're asking me what's in it for me, right? Many people asked me what is in it for me. It's free, so what is in it for me? So the truth is, um, the vision for my brand is the fact that I'm looking for partners, right? Partners who will be able to, you know, who are knowledgeable enough, have the skills, have the required knowledge, know how to market, know how to sell, know how to operate a business, know how to do a lot of stuff that is required for a business, and then we can then decide to partner in the future. That is the aim. So most of the things I'm doing here is just to test seriousness and ensure that people follow through, and I can then filter from those people and have people to partner with. That's just my end game, right? That's my end game. That's the reason I'm doing this. The reason is it's actually a selfish reason, but that's just what it is. So that I'm able to have partners and we can do business together and we can be able to make money together. That is the end goal. It's a far goal, but it's the end goal for me, and it's the reason why I'm doing all this. So don't be alarmed. It's just what it is. So how do you build your business from whatever stage it is to a millionaire business? Most times, I made the mistakes most food vendors will make. I thought good food would sell itself. I even thought posting daily was enough. It was not. And I noticed the stuff amongst us, right? In just the survey that I did, right? I asked the question, what do you do when sales are low? Right? Majority of the questions and majority of the answers was I post, I wait and I hope, or I run a discount. That is what most people do when I just use that to test the waters, and I figured out that that is what most people do, right? You either do discounts or you post daily, but those things don't actually bring in customers. I promise you, posting discounts will make you just look cheaper, and waiting and hoping, obviously you're still waiting and hoping, so it doesn't necessarily do much. So we went from a small bedroom operation to a state renowned brand. Our campaigns were so effective that other strong food brands in just started copying our systems. This one is quite funny because we came into a saturated space. Food business is saturated space, and when we came into that saturated space, many food brands at that point were not doing what we were doing at all. We just like shocked the market, and a lot of people started copying our systems. Like you would not imagine. I mean, big brands that had 4 or 5 locations started copying our systems because they were so effective, right? But the truth is, they were not able to do that. They were not able to, like, say, copy and make it effective because they were not us. There was a system I used. And most times I ask people questions and they're like, "Oh, it's my location, it's my food, it's like I'm not just lucky." And it's like this thing doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to just go straight to these systems because I'm trying as much as possible to, like, I have a lot of slides. Like I said, I have a lot of slides, right? So that's why I said we get our books. I have a lot of slides. I have like 200 pages of these slides. So um, yeah, let's just get into it. The first trick that I learned that most food vendors are not even aware of is that most food vendors think that they have a sales problem, right? They have a sales problem. They they do not have a sales problem. What they have is a positioning problem, and that is what brand is all about. Now let me stay here for a while. When we say that you have a sales problem, what do we mean? Many people think that they're not doing numbers because people don't like them, right? They're not lucky. They don't have a good location, right? They're just on WhatsApp. They are just like say local small businesses, but that's not the point. What they do not have is what they have is actually a positioning problem. They don't have a brand. They are just like everybody else. So I want to ask you this question: who exactly are you for? And who does your business serve primarily? Who exactly are you for? And who does your business serve primarily? Who exactly are you for? And who does your business serve primarily? I'd like us to think about this for like 1 or 2 seconds. Who exactly are you for? If I should ask you, who does your business, right? Like at this point, who do you serve? What will your answer be? Now, if your answer to that is that you serve everybody, everybody is your target audience, everybody is your target market, everybody is, I serve old people, I serve young people, I serve, um, who else? Like say, I serve girls, I serve boys, I serve a lot, I serve everybody. You don't have a plan. You actually do not have a plan. You're just operating on vibes, right? You don't have a plan. So I want you to answer that question. Who exactly does that business serve? You sell, let's say you sell, I'm trying to think about examples that I saw on the group earlier this week. Let's say you sell, let's go in 10 minutes. Someone's saying that it's showing, please, where is it showing that? Because it's showing it on my end. It's showing it on my end. Uh, wow, 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 wow. All right. It's showing someone 15 minutes, showing 10 minutes. That's serious. And I'm not seeing anything here. Coming. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense. Thank you for that follow. Sorry, Ajay. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Okay, so I think if that happens, we can just join on YouTube, right? We can just join on YouTube. It's basically the same thing. If that happens, we can just join on YouTube. So I think we are more than full for the room is quite full. So that's why it's showing that. Okay, so let's um let's just continue, right? Let's just continue. If it does that, we can just join back on YouTube. As long as YouTube is working, we are good to go. As long as YouTube is working, we are good to go. All right. So where was I? All right. Okay. So first, you need to identify who your target audience is. You need to identify who your target audience is. What does that mean? What is a target audience, right? A target audience is basically who your business is targeting. Who is your business actually targeting, right? How old are they? What do they like? What are their hobbies? That is how you should be thinking about your business. If you sell rice, if you sell beans, for example, let's say you're selling jollof rice or you're selling fish, whatever, you need to look at the market and be like, okay, who exactly am I going to target? Based on what I'm selling now, I'm selling fish now. Who exactly is my target audience? Where are they? Where do they live? How old are they? Right? Are they between the ages of 35 to 50, or are they between the age of 35 to 60, or are they between the age of 18 to 18 to 30? Right? That's how you should be thinking about this stuff. What do they like? What are their hobbies? Right? Are they moving around? Are they agile people? Do they like? Are they on their phone always? Right? You have to be thinking about that, because you have to answer the question of why should they choose me over another person, right? You need need to identify your target audience. Number one, you need to identify your target audience. The next thing you need to now do is you need to know, ask yourself, why should they choose me over another person? I always emphasize this. Most of my videos on Instagram and TikTok or wherever are on this is on this question. Because most people overlook this stuff. And this stuff is very important. Why should somebody choose you over another person? You need to have an answer to that question, right? You need to have an answer to that question. Why should they choose you over the next person? If you're selling rice, you're not the only person going to be selling rice. You open your shop, you're not the only person going to be selling rice. So why should somebody pick your business over another person's business? I hope you're writing these questions now, because these questions is the difference between yeah. So Creative Palms, if it goes off, you can just join back on YouTube. So I'm currently streaming on Google Meet and YouTube. So if this goes off, you can just switch over to YouTube. It's basically the same experience. If you join over to YouTube, we can have our question and answers there, and it's going to be the same thing. So no need to worry. No need to worry. So why should they choose you over another person, right? So please, let's try as much as possible to reduce the chats as much as possible, so that we can be able to be fast and move on, so that I'm not spending a lot of time on the comments. So yeah, so why should they choose me over another person? So, and if your answer to that question is my food tastes better, is because my food is better than theirs, I would like to let you know that if there's anything I've learned in this fast food game, and I've done fast food for a while, is that taste is subjective, right? Taste is very subjective. What you might think is the best food, you make the best jollof rice, you make the best fried rice, right? Somebody can just come into your restaurant, somebody can come order from you on WhatsApp, taste your food and be like, it's food, right? It's like they will say they will still prefer your competitions over your food. And that's because taste buds are different. Everybody's taste buds are different, except if you're a sous chef, or like you're importing ingredients and using like very different ingredients, right? Even at that, right, people can still taste that and be like, no, I still prefer the buka that I'm going to at the back of my house, right? It's just what it is. Human beings are different. And so when I started my business, what happened was I made an observation as to what everybody else was doing, especially in the shawarma space. My name is Shawarma, obviously, right? So like I said, I picked a target audience, right? So I made an observation to what everybody was doing at that time. We now decided to do something that is quite different, right? And I decided that the fact is I would not just go about trying to get everybody to buy from me. That was the first thing I decided to do on day one, right? I decided that I'm going to go after a specific set of people. I'm going to go after a specific subset of people, right? So that I am not going to waste my time trying to convince everybody to go buy from me, right? So the next thing I now did was I looked around and I found a niche that nobody else was doing at that time, which was our Suya Shawarma, right? Our Suya Shawarma. Anybody who has been with our brand or has known our brand for a while will know that our what brought us into the market, at least in a particular sense, was our Suya Shawarma. I'm going to tell you something very interesting, is the fact that our chicken shawarma is actually the best sell. It's like our best seller, right? It's what everybody buys. Anybody that comes mostly buys. But everybody knew us for our Suya shawarma. And the thing is, I crafted a niche for ourselves. I crafted a niche for myself in my own space, because everywhere was crowded. I started to do something that nobody else was doing at that point. I started to do something that nobody else was thinking about doing, right? So this is just an example. I'm using myself as an example now. But the truth is, it's actually set us apart because nobody else was doing it. And people actually started to copy us, even though they never really figured out how to, right? People copied us down to our name, right? They copied our recipe, right? They not copy our recipe because they can't know our recipe, but they copied our name. And never really figured out how to, because it was our signature, and it caught on because there was not many things to compare it to. So enough about me, right? Enough about my business, and I start talking about myself. Let me use other businesses as an example. So it's not just going to be like it's only applicable to my business and it cannot be applicable to yours. So let's talk about some of the food brands that we already know, right? And some of us even love, or some of us might hate them, but it doesn't make any difference. Let me even state on this: the fact that people hate you, right, or people love you. Everybody cannot love your brand. Everybody cannot love your brand, and that's why he said you cannot target everybody. Everybody cannot be your target market. Everybody cannot love your brand. Some people will hate your brand. So there's this restaurant that I understudied a few days ago, a few weeks ago, a few months ago actually, which is Thompson 23 restaurant in Lagos, right? I don't know how many of us have heard of Thompson 23. Just give me a thumbs up. Um, just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you've heard of, if you're from Lagos and you've heard of Thompson 23. Their restaurant in, I don't know exactly where it is in Lagos. Let me see. Is all right. We're still here. Okay, nobody has heard of Thompson 23 in Lagos. Okay, okay. Follow has heard of Thompson 23, right? I think they opened not too long ago, and their signature was their 3-5 bubble tea. Now bubble tea is usually 12,000, right? Bubble tea is usually 12,000, but theirs is 3-5. Somebody's trying to join on YouTube. Sorry, let me get. I don't know if Mabel is on this call. Mabel, can you just send me a message on WhatsApp to see? Um, can you send me a message on WhatsApp, Mabel, if you're here, so that we'll be able to fix this for YouTube guys. Thank you. Okay, she said it's showing. YouTube is actually showing. All right. So um yeah, yeah, I can see myself on YouTube, so you're working. Yeah, so that's good. Sorry guys, sorry for the distractions, but it's just what it is. So who's oh my god, the meat is killed. So please let's join back on YouTube. Let's join back on YouTube. Let's join on YouTube. Please let's join on YouTube. Mabel, if you're here, please just join on YouTube. Let's join on YouTube. I think the meat is dead, and I don't want to be creating more links. I don't want to be creating more links. So please let's join on YouTube, please. Let's join on YouTube. I've not actually gone anywhere in the slides, and it's almost 8. So if we are here on YouTube, please let me know. Please let me know. I think we passed our capacity on YouTube. Okay, the YouTube volume is slow. Thank you, maybe let me increase that. I think it should be better now, right? Please let me see feedback on YouTube. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? I think the volume should be better. Is it? It's still low. How about now? Wow. Please let's test the volume. Right? Is this better? This is better. I need to get feedback. All right. Thank you guys. All right. Let me just keep this here. That's to all right. I think it's better. Bit of half an hour. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Beauty. Thank you, Inena. Thank you, Creative Palms. So the background noise is going to be coming from this earpiece, and I try to max the volume out. So please, you guys will bear with me. Okay, so let's keep going. I think you guys can hear me. All right, thank you. So I was talking about the recently opened Thompson 23 restaurant in Lagos, right? And normally bubble tea sells for 13,000. It's my can you guys hear me like this? I don't want to be touching the microphone. My hands are off the microphone. Can you hear me? Give me a like, give me something. Let me know that you guys are hearing me. All right, thank you so much. Um, so getting back to this stuff, let me not get distracted. There's a lot to cover. So, the signature of Thompson 23 was their 12,000 naira bubble tea, 12,000 to 13,000 naira bubble tea, which no one else was doing. And they came up with something that was very unique to the market. And they came up with the bubble tea that is 3.5, right? It might not taste, it might not taste the best, it might not taste the best, but that is what they are going to be known for. It might not taste the best, but that's what they're going to be known for, right? It's what that they carved out a place for their market from their market. Now everybody, they even had lines outside their restaurants. From what I heard, from the reports I heard, was they had lines outside their restaurants, and people were queuing to get into that, to get a taste of the 3.5 bubble tea. Now those guys have carved out a place for themselves, and they are printing money. They did not come out to say that they are just going to they are just going to have they're just going to have they are going to sell 12,000 naira bubble tea or do what everybody else is doing, or sell jollof rice or sell fried rice. No, they carved out a specific niche for themselves. And the good thing about it is, the fact that you start with a niche, or the fact that you start somewhere, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to end there, but it has to be the fact that you are known for that stuff. For us, let me not talk about me. Let me talk about Shawarma Ali for now. Let's not be like I'm talking about my brand too much. So let's talk about Chicken Republic, for example. 90% of us on this chart know Chicken Republic. 90% of us on this chart know Chicken Republic. So what's the difference between us or your brand and Chicken Republic? Is the fact that they are known for something. What are they known for? Chicken Republic is known for their affordable chicken meals, right? Their chickpeas and their chicken, really good stuff, and it's quite cheap. That's why everybody goes to Chicken Republic, because of their cheap food, their cheap rice, and their cheap chicken. Everything you can get it for like 2.5, or sometimes even 1.5 if they're on promo, right? So those guys now, they have carved out a market for themselves. I even saw a tweet one time that people are afraid that Chicken Republic is using their chickens because of how cheap it is, or how ridiculously cheap it is, right? They have carved out a market for themselves. It's not something that everybody else is doing, right? You cannot start out now and say that you want to beat Chicken Republic, because they have something that you cannot beat them on, and it's their chicken meals, right? And people buy it repeatedly, and now they are a multi-millionaire business, right? So using that as a case study, what does that tell you, right? What does that tell you? It tells you that millionaire food brands are built on clear niches. They are built on clear niches. You cannot be, or you should not be good at everything, especially when you're starting out. And I'm speaking to people who are starting out, or who have their brands and want to grow their brands. You should not be good at everything, right? Or you can't be good at everything. Let's use it like that. Personally, everybody knows me for shawarma in my brand, right? There are things, and my shawarma is pretty good, right? I can attest to that for myself. My shawarma is pretty good. It's the one thing that I focused all my time in learning how to do, right? Now, we have other things. We have a lot of other things in my business, a lot of other fries, we sell other things. But most times, people come to my outlets not because of the food or the jollof rice or whatever. They come because of the shawarma, right? There's something driving them towards my brand, and I'm going to even talk about other things here. So if you're at any point not following, please just let me know. I would like us, the chat, to be active, so that we can be able to, in then I can see you. So I need more interaction, so I'll be able to know that we are following. So right, yes. So like I always say, riches is in the niches, right? Riches is in the niches. You have to be known for something. Domino's Pizza, they are known for their pizza. Cold Stone, they are known for their ice cream. What brand again do we know in Nigeria? Jazzy, so the Zoom link is cancelled. Johnson, the Zoom link is cancelled, or the meeting link is cancelled. So we are just using YouTube for now. We're just using YouTube for now. So let's just use YouTube here. All right. So like I was saying, the riches is in the niches, right? I was talking about Jazzy. Jazzies are known for their burgers. What other brand? You guys can name brands for me in the comments, and then you guys can see for yourself that brands are actually focused on one thing that they are known for to the core, right? So that's it, right? They know who they want to serve. They're not trying to serve everybody. They know who exactly they are trying to serve, their target demographics. When I say target demographics, who do I mean? They are trying to serve a specific age of people, right? They're trying to serve a specific type of people. Let's use Domino's Pizza or Jersey Burger. Jersey Burger would look at you. They're trying to sell luxury product to a certain demographic of people. They're not trying to sell everybody, right? They're trying to, you see, they have a whole their whole strategy is trying to get people that spend to come to their brand, to come and get their stuff. So in that case, you need to be able to make sure that you are serving somebody in your own business, a specific set of people with a specific kind of product. So that, and I'll tell you the reason why later. And I've already talked about my story. I don't want to really bore you guys with my story. So I'm just going to go to the next point. The reason why we are doing all this is so that our marketing can be cheaper. Because most times, our marketing is expensive. We think our marketing is expensive because we don't have a target audience. We don't have a target audience. That is our problem. We do not have people that we are targeting. We do not have people that we are going towards, a certain set of people that we are going towards, right? And if you're saying that you want to market your business now, okay, who are you marketing to? You do not know. Who are you sharing your product? Who are you sharing your business with? You do not know. It's just vibes, right? You're just hoping that if you do something, you market your business now, that it will click somehow. If you share your flyer with somebody, it's going to click somehow. And then I said I should share my story. I'm going to share my story actually, but I've shared it at the beginning, so I don't want to delay so much. I want us to be able to move faster, right? So the question I want to ask you now is, I want you to write this question down, is how are you differentiating your business? Or the question is, how is your business different from the rest? I want you to take a hard time this night and figure out this question. No matter how long it takes you to figure out this question, you need to figure out this question. I ask myself this question every year. Every year. I ask myself this question every year. How is my business different from the rest? Right? That is the question I always ask myself. So, what have we talked about so far? Let's do a little recap. We have talked about positioning your business, right, differently from what everybody else is doing. And like I said, a quick exercise is, can you think of ways you can position your business different to be different from everybody else? Can you think of ways to do that? I think you need to write number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 in your notebook and figure out how you think you can position yourself to be different from your business. So basically, all I've said so far, Johnson, is positioning yourself different from your business, right? So let's just keep up. As we go through the end, there'll be time for question and answer. Anything you did not hear, as Mabel said, anything you did not hear, you can just let me know. So, if you have an idea on how you can position yourself different, you can let me know in the comments, right? On how you think your business can be different. Like, as your brain is just working, right? You can just be letting me know in the comments, so I know that you are active. So let's move on, right? The second secret I would like to share with you, you have talked about positioning, right? You have talked about positioning, very, very important. Positioning your brand to be different from everybody else in your market. So the second secret I would like to share with you is, most food vendors, most people in the food business, we are running a kitchen, not a business. Most food vendors are running a kitchen, not a business. What do I mean by that? Most food vendors I know and mentored are great chefs, right? And you guys are actually even better than me in that area, to be honest. Like 95% of you on this call are better cooks than me. 95% of you guys on this call, I can beat my chest, are better chefs than me, right? Um, but to be honest, you're running a kitchen, not a full business. Most times, the people I meet, right? I had a meeting, I've had classes with a lot of people, a lot of calls recently, where most times people are obsessed with, they want to cook, their passion is food, they love cooking, they love anything around the kitchen, they love just being around the kitchen, preparing stuff, trying new recipes and whatever, right? I'm not like that. Like I said earlier, I'm not a chef. I'm not going to come on this call and tell you that, oh, you need to learn how to cook, you need to learn, I'm going to teach you this is how to cook. That is not me, right? These things are great, right? Your food is great, but they don't bring in customers, at least not in the beginning, right? No matter how great your food tastes, no matter how great your food tastes, get it from me, no matter how great your food tastes, right? They don't bring in customers when you are starting out, right? They don't bring in customers. So we are going to talk about customer retention later, but for getting customers, food doesn't um, food doesn't really matter in that sense, because personally, the way my brand started out, like I said, my brand started out as an experiment. I was just experimenting things, and to be honest, at the beginning, my food wasn't that all that great. My shawarma was not all that great, right? My shawarma was not all that great, but I had customers. Right? I had customers, and it reinforced the belief. The only issue with that is the fact that those customers that tried my food that year will not come back again, but they came because I knew how to get their attention, right? So we are going to talk about that. So most times when a customer is coming into your restaurant, they expect certain things to already be there, right? They expect the food to be good. They expect that at least you're going to have decent customer service. They expect a lot of things, right? And except if you are trying to do, if any of you guys know what we call fine dining or Michelin rated cooking, like you're using exotic ingredients, or you're trying to be a 3-star restaurant or a 4-star restaurant, most times people already expect things to be in place. And I said earlier, your food taste will be subjective. Some people will like it, some other people would not like it. It's the way the world works. It's the way the world works, right? And that's why I talked about defining your audience earlier, right? And when you have done that, you now have to market your business. You now have to market your business. And I need you to pay attention to this section. If you're not going to get anything from everything I've said so far, this particular part of the class is something that is very, 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 very important. And I need you to pay attention to this section. Regardless of this, like marketing works. I started marketing from when I was in my room, right? Starting my business to when I had locations, right? So when I had multiple locations, right? I started marketing my business, and marketing is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's basically simple. So when I say marketing, right, what do I mean by marketing? Marketing is basically how do you get customers to know you exist? As simple as that. How do you get your customers to know that you exist? Please pay attention, right? If there's anything distracting you, I need you to just focus at this point. How do you get your customers to know you exist? Because what usually happens with many businesses, at least I know, is like you have a big launch, right? You open your business, you have a big launch. Your friends and your family, they come and support you, you cut ribbon, everybody has a good time, you make a lot of money that day because everybody's trying to support you. People will leave their houses, come from far and near, to come and buy from you, right? Even if you operate an online business, you see that you tell people that, oh, I'm starting this store food. They'll be like, oh, when are you starting this store food? Oh yeah, take this. They're not really buying it for the food, they're just buying it to show that they support you, right? They are friends and your family, right? Most times they will support you, and you make a killing that day. And the next day, like, there's silence, crickets, right? So if you have experienced this kind of thing, let me know in the comment section, because I have, right? I opened my shop and I'm like, oh, everybody came to support me. Everybody now I read now, if I'm opening a new location, I'm not going to open a location with ribbons and all those stuff, because I know that more people are going to just coming to support you, but it's not the main thing. It's not the main thing. And most times, when people don't come back, they're wondering what went wrong. They'll say that their family is this, their family is bad, their friends are bad, their friend don't want to patronize them, their family doesn't want to patronize them. And it's not their fault, right? Your friends and family, no matter how supportive they are not necessarily your customers. No matter how supportive your family is, no matter how supportive your people are, right? They are not necessarily your customers. They are not, to be honest with you, right? They are not your customers. You have to learn how to get customers for your own business, and you have to learn how to stand out from your competition. So I'm going to give you some ways to do this. There are many ways, and I usually say that Shawarma personally is just a marketing company that sells shawarma. That's my personal opinion. That's the way I revolve. Like I said, I did not build my business around food. I just build it around selling, around marketing, right? It's just an interest of mine. So I'm telling you that I've tried a lot of methods in marketing. I'm just going to share three here. And you must at least have three of these things that I'm going to share. And I've implemented all of these, right? And I know their strengths and weaknesses. Every one that I'm going to share with you, I've implemented it at least to a point. At least to a point, right? So the first one I'd like to talk about is content, what many people refer to as organic marketing, right? This is, you guys are aware of this stuff, right? It's just like an organic way of getting traffic to your business, right? It's content. It's you when you create pictures, you create videos, you post on social media, you post on Facebook, you post on everywhere, you create pictures, that is what organic marketing is. That's what organic marketing is. But what many people miss, right, and they get frustrated with content, is the fact that it's not guaranteed. And your posts are subjective to the platforms you are on. Your posts are subject to the platforms you are on. What that means is that TikTok is different from Facebook. Facebook is different from Instagram. They all have their different algorithms. They all have the way they work. And unless, I don't want to say unless you're an expert, but unless you have, depending on what you're trying to build, right? Depending on the kind of brand that you're going to build, the posts you're going to post have to reflect on the platforms you are posting on. And many people will tell you that, just continue. How many people have heard things like just consistency, be consistent, because be consistent, just continue. And when when people tell me be consistent, or they used to tell me be consistent, just keep posting. One day people will see your content. It's fine if you want to build a personal brand. It's fine if you want to, you just want to share your ideas. You want to be the next person that has a lot of ideas, that wants to do a lot of things. But if you're running a business, right, or let's say you're even paying for a shop or something like that, you might actually run out of money before TikTok says that they want to show your content to your customers, right? It's just what it is. It's fine if you have a personal brand and you want to dance on the internet. But if you have a business, your NEPA is not going to wait for you. Your staff will not wait for you for TikTok to show your content to your potential customers. But it's a really, really great, platform. I don't want to dismiss TikTok. TikTok has been one platform that I have used a lot, and it has a lot of traction. TikTok has a lot of traction. Especially it's cheap to get started. It's one way to get started. It has a lot of traction, but it's not. It's for those who already have an idea on how content works. And the truth is, TikTok can decide one day that they want to change their algorithm. They want to, change the way that they do things, and then you'll be stranded. You would not know how things work. You'll just be like stranded and not even understand what is going on TikTok. So I have never actually relied on this mode of traffic, even though it's part of our overall traffic strategy. I've never actually relied on this mode of traffic. Most of you guys who followed us or joined from Instagram, we have about, I think, 1,000 and something, 1.6k um, followers on my brand's page, which is on Instagram. I think we started TikTok newly, and just like 200 followers on TikTok. So at least we have one point something on Facebook also, right? We have a content strategy. We have a lot of posts. We put out a lot of posts, a lot of pictures, a lot of content, right? And there's a way that is easy. It's easy to generate content now that we have AI. There are a lot of things we can do with AI. But I have never actually relied on content as my someone is saying my screen is too small. What part of my screen is too small, or is it my face that is too small? I'm trying as much as possible to maybe if there's anything, just let me know. If you're still on the live, if there's anything, just let me know so that we'll be able to rectify it for them. Yeah, so even though it's still part of our overall traffic strategy, the thing is, I just never expected to get millions of views because it's not necessarily as effective for every business, right? Especially for food businesses. The fact that you have millions of views does not necessarily mean you have millions of customers, right? It just means you have millions of views. And you need to be able to be strategic about your content. Your content needs to be strategic. You should not be aiming for virality. You should not be aiming for virality, to be viral, for your business to be viral. Not necessarily. What you should be aiming for is you should be aiming for buyers. You should be crafting your content to be aimed for buyers, for people to buy from you, right? That is how you should be crafting your content, for people to buy from you. And except is and not many businesses can afford to like hire special content advisors that will teach them content positioning, editing, and a lot of those stuff. So I don't want to really focus on content at all. I don't want to focus on content at all because there's an area that there's a way to do it, but it takes a lot of time, consistency, and all those stuff, and you might not have that, But if you do have that, that's great. But I'd like to now go to the second one, which I would like to talk about, which is paid ads. Now, when I say ads, I just mean advertisements. What I'm referring to by ads is social media ads, which are the cheapest form of advertisements, at least in my personal opinion. They are cheaper than billboards, they are cheaper than radio ads, and you can basically reach anybody. The most popular ones are the ones I use, which most of you guys who are watching this live have seen an ad, right? Most of you, at least 80% of you guys have seen an ad, because I checked the stats, I checked the insights. At least 70% of you guys saw the ad, at least 20% at least came from content, and then let's say 10% are people who already knew me. So yes, so the most popular ones are Facebook and Instagram ads. But TikTok ads are starting to gain some ground in this area. I tried TikTok ads a little bit, but the issue with TikTok ads is that its targeting is not really as good, right? TikTok ads, their targeting is still broad. Their targeting is just specific to some states like the UK and all those places, but you cannot really do granular targeting like Facebook and Instagram ads. YouTube also supports ads, but I've never tried YouTube ads, and it's not just leave YouTube ads if you're a food business. YouTube ads is for if you want to do more global, more international kind of advertisements, or national kinds of advertisements, you stick with YouTube ads. So what has my strategy always been? So my strategy has always been to run ads with the content that I post organically and get more eyeballs to that content and then drive sales. This is my strategy, right? I run ads, right? I create content, I post that content, I examine the content. If the content does well, a little bit, I run ads with that content, and then I get eyeballs to that content, and then I drive sales. That has been my strategy for a while. And so normally I usually get many questions regarding like how much do I need to run ads on Facebook or on Instagram. The good thing about this thing is the fact that you can choose the audience you want. Like you can target people, very specific people, down to like things like your local government area, like down to your local government. You can target people even to your compound. I'm very, very serious. You can target people down to your compound on Facebook and Facebook and Instagram ads, depending on how you know how to set it up, right? You can also set up your budget according to your pocket. You can decide if you want to run ads for 5k or 500k. It depends on your budget. And like I said, depends on your targeting. That's why you need to be able to have good targeting. You need to be able to know who you're targeting. And Facebook and Instagram will give you granular. Okay. Sorry, I'm moving a lot. I'll stop moving a lot. I'm getting excited a little bit. So thank you, Creative Palms. I'm getting excited. When I teach, I really get excited. So I usually move a lot. So I'll try to stay steady. All right. So, like I was saying, right, you can set up your ads, 5k ad, 500. You can even do less. I'm telling you that I've run ads for 1k a day. Yes, 1/8. Yes, 1/8 for a day, and it converted. Right, it's converted because I was, like I said, secret number one, positioning. Secret number two, marketing, right? So I've run ads for as low as 1/8, and it worked, and I could see the difference, right, in my sales, in how I did this stuff, especially for those who run cloud kitchens or for those who do online stuff. This is just one aspect, right? Depending on, most times it just depends on your budget, right? It just depends on, most times this skill has been one skill for me that has changed the trajectory of my existence, right? Just knowing how to run ads has changed the trajectory of my existence. And it's something that no matter, let's say you don't even have a lot of funds, it's something that you can, is a skill that once you have it, it does not matter whether you are starting out in online, or you have a physical. It works everywhere. It works in every state. It works the same way. It's consistent, right? So, and most food vendors are scared to run ads because they see it as, they're just gambling money. But for someone who has been doing it for like the better part of, like, say, 5 years, or the better part of 5 years, I've running ads since 2020. Yes, 2020. That's 6 years, right? You would only think that way in terms of gambling money, throwing money away, if you don't know how to position your ads and you do not understand your numbers. You would only think that way if you don't know how to position your ads and you don't understand your numbers. So please let me know if I'm still just let me know if I'm still audible in the comments, so I'll be able to adjust accordingly. But moving on. So when I say numbers, what do I mean by numbers? Things like your acquisition costs. There are many lot of big words these marketing guys throw around. I'm a marketing guy, so I use it a lot too, but I'm going to break it down for you. Right? When you say acquisition costs, what does that mean? You hear things like CAC. It's like cost to acquire a customer, right? I hope you're writing these things down. I really, really hope you're writing these things down. At least I hope you're writing these things down. Acquisition cost is the cost to acquire a customer. If you're spending 1/8 to acquire a customer, that is how much you've spent to acquire that customer. And every business has this, no matter how, even if it's from content, right? Even if it's from content you're posting, everybody has a cost that they use to acquire a customer. Everybody has a cost, right? So the people who make the most sales understand how these costs work. And then we have things like the lifetime value of your customer, LTV, the lifetime value of your customer. What does this mean? When we say lifetime value, what does this mean? For example, let me just give an example. I'm trying to be fast here because we need to speed up. If not, you're not going to be done anytime soon. The lifetime value of a customer simply means how much a person spends with you over the course of your business life. If you get a customer for 1,800 naira, how much is that person going to spend with you? Is the person going to spend 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000, 150,000? I have customers that have been with me for a while, right? And I also talked about when my business had low sales and had a lot of low sales, right? The lifetime value of my people stopped coming back to my business, right? That means my lifetime value drops to 0 because people stop coming back, right? So if somebody comes and buys from you today 3,000, comes back 5,000, you calculate everything and be like, okay, this is the lifetime value of this particular customer. This is two things that you would need to know, and you need to know for life, right? It's going to change the way you see marketing and the way you see your business. Cost per click, not necessarily important. Thank you, Rabah, for that. Thank you, Aisha, for that. Okay. So if you do not understand these numbers I have just talked about now, then it will feel like you are throwing money to the wind. Every time you because it's just like, if you don't know something, right? Just like betting, if you don't know, um, if you don't know, yes, if you don't know how to bet, if you, let's not say if you don't know how to bet. I'm not encouraging betting in any shape or form, but betting in the sense that you're betting because you don't know how things work. You don't know if they are going to win. You don't know if they are going to lose. And the house would always win. That they will say in all those American movies, the house always wins because Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, they are trying as much as possible to show you these things to your target audience. But the truth is, if you've not established who your target audience is, you've not established who your target audience is, you've not established anything in your business, you don't understand these numbers, you just be simply wasting money. And that's why people will come and say, oh, I ran ads for this amount of money and this it doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like that. You need to be efficient, you need to be structured, you need to have a structure in understanding marketing. And so far, all the times that I have used this particular method, I've been able to see results. Let's not say all of the time. Most of the time that I've used this particular method, I've been able to see results because I understand the system. I understand the game. There's a game to this stuff, and it's something that you need to understand. Before I run any ad, what do I usually do? I'll calculate my acceptable cost per acquisition. What does that mean? I've explained what cost per acquisition is, right? Your CPA, right? It's basically I calculate how much am I willing to get a customer from this particular platform. If Facebook gives me a customer for 5k, is that an acceptable cost for me? I don't think so, depending on how much I'm selling my product. If I'm selling rice of 1.5 and I'm spending 5,000 to acquire that customer, okay, what's my LT? What's the lifetime value of that customer? Is that customer going to spend up to 10,000 naira with me, 20,000 naira with me, 30,000 naira with me? Are they going to spend that amount of money? If they're not going to spend that amount of money, then it's not an acceptable cost. I have to now look for a different ad to run so that I'm able to get customers at a cheaper rate. And then what I will now do is I'll optimize my settings, right, to ensure that I do not pass this number, right? I optimize my advertisement settings to ensure that I do not pass this number. So the truth is, this particular channel is something that I don't say I'm good at, but it's something that I can spend my entire day. We can just be discussing Facebook ads or Instagram ads or Meta ads or TikTok ads. We can just discussing like different things here. And my goal is that from here we're going to build like a community of people who are actually passionate about, who actually not even passionate, you don't have to be passionate about it, but at least you know how to do this stuff, right? At least you know how to do this stuff so that you'll be able to get results that you want to get. So able to get the results that you want to get. And you can I've used it in all of my other businesses. And there's something that I would like to share with you is the fact that every business I have started, every single business I have started, is the fact that every business I have started is I have never lacked customers. Not one business. I've not started one business that I would say that my problem with that business was the fact that I lacked customers. Not one. I want you to think about it for a second. Not one business. Like up till today, there are some businesses that haven't closed. I don't want to do again because of the stress involved, right? I don't want to do again because of the stress. But up till today, I still receive phone calls. I still receive texts that, are you guys around? Are you guys doing this, right? And it's because I just knew how to get customers at the point when I was running, and it's still flowing up to this point. This is a skill that if you have it, you have it for life. You have it for life. Like you can use it anywhere. It's a system. If you use it anywhere, it works, right? So another channel that I really love, I've talked about content, I've talked about ads, right? Paid ads. Now one I really love is leveraging influencers. And why I love influencers is the fact that they lend you their credibility. Now when I see all these things, I'm not talking about things. It's not if you have a big budget, right? If you notice what I'm doing, I'm not doing things I'm telling you that you need a big budget to do all these things. No, I'm doing things like you need like 1.8, right? 1.8, 1k, right? So that you know that it's not something that is far-fetched. It's something that you can have with you from wherever you are at, right? You can have it with you from wherever you're at to wherever you want to be. All right, so why do I love influencers? They lend you their credibility, and their audience see them post positively about you and immediately want to give your food a try. Their audience see them post, like they see the post on their page, and they immediately want to give your food a try. It's it's why influencers are really really good. It's why influencers are really really good. Um, but there's this common misconception that influencers are expensive. Yes, it's not even a misconception. It's true. Some influencers are expensive, and you hear things like you need a lot of money to get them, and only big brands can get influencers, and they aren't. It's not false, right? It's true. There are specific set of influencers that only big brands can get. Only big brands can get influencers like Cristiano Ronaldo. Only big brands can get influencers like Kim Kardashian, or like people that have 1 million plus for, or essay, or pay, or let's in our food space, or pay me or pay me farmaking, right? Only certain food brands can get people that are already doing hundreds of millions, right? People are already doing 100 millions in sales can afford influencers at that stage. But if you're just okay, I'm low again. I'm low again. Please, can you guys confirm my volume? Confirm my volume, please. Confirm my volume. Um, confirm my volume. So I'll just keep going. If you guys confirm my volume, we'll be able to move on. Um, all right. So they're not really false in a sense, right? But there are three types of influencers that I have come across. There are three types of influencers that I have come across. And all right, thank you, Mary. So I'll just keep going. So there are three types of influencers that I've come across, right? The first kind is what we call the celebrity or the macro influencers. Those are the guys that I talked about: Cristiano Ronaldo, Okpayemi, Kim Kardashians, them famous musicians, and all those stuff. They have a large following, and if they charge you, they have a right reason why they are charging you, because they are really really expensive. Those guys have 1 million to 100 million followers, or even let's say 500k followers. I will tag all of them. I'll put all of them in the same perspective because we cannot afford them. Okay, we cannot afford them, right? I'll put them in a particular place because we cannot afford them. So, but then what we now have, we have niche influencers. We have niche influencers. Niche influencers, these are people who focus on a particular topic: food bloggers, campus pages. And I call them niche influencers because they are they have a small variety of audiences. They have a small variety of audiences, like from, even I'll use them from people that have, let's say, 1k followers on Instagram, 1k followers on TikTok. I put them under the niche influencers. What I usually go for people who have an interactive page, right? I usually have who have an interactive page. That's what I usually go for, because these influencers, they are usually smaller in size and they do not have as much volume. And then we now have what we call the micro community influencers. These micro community influencers, who are they? They are people like your class reps, right, in school, your church head, your teachers. These people control people like 50 people, right? 50, 100 people. And most food vendors, people have come across, they'll go to this big guy's page and be begging them to review their product. They'll be begging them, oh, please help me, this thing, I'm just starting out, help me review my product, though. And they will snub you, except if they are having a good time, and then they might say that, okay, let me just help this person. But from experience, there's a lot of value in 2 and 3. That is the micro and the niche influencers. The niche influencers and the micro. And a lot of money can be made here without breaking the bank. My hope now is that I hope that no influencer is going to be here, because this can, this is a secret that can backfire, because they might be like, oh, I'm going to start charging people for all this stuff. But people that control a small set of people, they are the people you should be focusing on, because they control 1,000 people, not control, or they have a following of 1,000 people, 500 people, 50 people. Those kind of people, if they should talk about your product, there's no how they will not be able to get. They have even more trust with their followers than the people that have 1 million, 100 million followers. If they say that, come and buy this stuff from this person, I trust this person is doing a good stuff, you would have more sales than even if you meet those guys that have 100 million, 1 million followers without even breaking the bank. And most times when you deal with these guys, most people will come and start saying that, oh, let's make a brand agreement, or let's make a brand agreement, let's make this, let's make that on the on that's what they'll be telling the influencers. Don't do that. Focus on building relationships. Focus on building relationships rather than trying to get them to sign you a deal or become your brand ambassadors. I've never had a brand as ambassador till today, and the reason why I don't have that is because my focus is on the fact that I'm trying to build a relationship with that person. I'm trying to be friends with that person. Right? I'm trying to be friends with that person. And that's what I did to even get many influencers in my city to talk about my business. Right? That's what I did to get many influencers in my city to talk about my food business and bring us to talk about the food discussion. Right? I built a relationship with most of these guys, right? Built a relationship with most of these guys, my cost reps, my all this stuff, all this my niche influencers, people that control a small set of people, and built relationships with them, and they talked about my business. And one thing you must know is, influencers will not just go about promoting brands. And when I'm talking about influencers now, I'm talking about these niche and micro influencers. They will not go about promoting brands. They love promoting things that would help them look good to their audience. They love promoting things that will help them look good to their audience, right? They love promoting things that will help them look good to their audience. I'm repeating this thing 3 times so you get it, right? The point is that they want to look good to their followers, especially these niche and micro guys. They need to look good. They need to look great to their audience. So your goal when working with any kind of influencer should be to make them look as good as possible with your product. To make them look as good as possible with your product. And most influencers, or let's say content creators I have worked with, there's a particular way I actually reach out to them that actually makes it less costly, often sometimes free of charge, right? Most times, you might charge me here and there, but it's not, the cost is not some 100k cost. It's never reached like that. At least where I'm staying, that's never reached like that. And sometimes I'm like, depending on if I'm looking for customers, like I said, this strategy I'm teaching you is if you're trying to find customers. There are sometimes there's a point in your business where your focus is going to be on other things other than customers, right? Because most times if you implement these things that I'm teaching you here and you go back and do it, what will usually happen is you will get customers and then something will break in your business, right? It's called, what we call it is the constraints of growth. The constraints of growth. As you grow, things break, right? For example, you now realize that you do not actually have the capacity to meet up with a lot of things in your business, and then you now have to say that, okay, I'm going to focus more on hiring and all this stuff. But that's not the point of this. That's not the point of this. Let's move on. Like I said, I'm more focused on building relationships with them than just trying to get them to make a post. And there's a particular way I usually do this. I'll talk about it later. And I really hope you're having a good time so far and you are learning. I can already see the comments. A lot of you are saying that you're learning a lot. So I'm really, really happy so far that we are making progress. I'm really happy so far that we are making progress. It's not a bad time, to invite your friends if you have any, as long as you're not an influencer, to join the live, so that we're able to make more progress. My background is getting too high. Sorry about that. I'm moving a lot again. Adjust my chair. All right. So sorry about the background again. My microphone is having issues. Okay. All right. So far we have talked about positioning and we have talked about building your brand. We have talked about positioning and we have talked about building your brand. So next we have we then discussed about running a business and generating traffic. We discussed about running a business and generating traffic. Please let me know if I'm audible. At any point in which I'm cracking off, just let me know. I'm seeing all the comments, so just let me know at any point. Just let me know. So we discussed running a business and generating traffic, right? So the last secret I want to talk about, because we have run out of time, the last secret I want to talk about, which is probably the most important one, is Most food business owners think that once a customer comes into the door, what they buy is what they buy, you know, but that isn't true. What I mean by what they buy is they just come into the shop and they just buy anything and they walk out. This is not true, and this is a very very rare secret that most people don't understand. Customers will not buy what they plan to buy. They would buy what you guide them to buy. Customers will not buy what they plan to buy. They will buy what you guide them to buy. I hope you are taking notes. Customers will not buy what they plan to buy, is what you guide them to buy. So you have to customize your customer experience. You have to tailor it. You have to control what they see and what they don't see. So if 100 customers enter your store today, how much money they spend or how much money they leave behind is not random, right? It is what I call engineered. It's something you can engineer. It's something you can tinker, right? It's something you can tinker. So in my business, what I usually do is I studied my customers' pattern from the way they enter into the store to where their eyes go first, how they even stand at the counter, how they pay, how they leave. And I try to optimize my process to ensure that at every step there's an opportunity to increase value and make sales. I try to optimize every process, every step to ensure that at every opportunity, right, I'm making sales at every single opportunity, right? And one of those ways is from what I like to call menu engineering. Menu engineering, menu engineering, menu engineering. So see, there is no reason why you should not have a menu. I don't care if you have a show glass, right? I don't care if you have a show glass, even though it's still part of menu engineering, but I don't care if you have a show glass. Personally, I don't see any reason why a food business will not have a menu. Whether you're selling online, whether you're selling in your store, whether you're selling a booker, I don't see any reason why you should not have a menu. And there's a way you should structure your menu to ensure that you are not leaving money on the table. There's a way you should structure your menu to ensure you are not leaving money on the table. And it's one fundamental flaw I've seen in many businesses, like even successful ones. You are leaving so much money on the table by not knowing how to properly engineer a menu or even your show glass. Everything is random. Your menu cannot be random. People who know my brand use some of them will even know us for our menu. Our menu is quite different from how everybody else's menu is structured. We don't just list our products and say, jollof rice, fried rice, chicken and chips, shawarma. We don't do that. There's a structure to it. There's a reason why everything is where it's supposed to be, right? And it's not, like I said, it's not just about listing your products or using pictures like you show fried rice, you show this. That's not the point. It's about setting categories and price points to optimize profits and being intentional about upsells and cross-sells. It's about setting categories and price points to optimize profits. That every time that you are crafting out a menu, you are thinking about setting categories, price points to optimize profits, and you are being intentional about what we call upsells and cross-sells. So let's define what upsells and cross-sells are. Upselling is the act of convincing a customer to buy a more expensive item along with the item they plan to buy. What does this mean? When someone comes into your store or someone messages you on WhatsApp, your aim should not just be what they order, right? If somebody wants to buy shawarma from you or somebody wants to buy rice or jollof rice, your goal or what you should have in mind is you should be thinking about how to get them to buy something more expensive. If they planned to buy something of 1.5, why don't they buy something of 3.5? It's not going to be bad, right? But you list it as a suggestion, right? You should try this, right? There's a way to actually do this that is more structured than this, but just for the sake of the length of this class, I'm not really going to go about it. But let's talk about cross-selling. Cross-selling is convincing a customer to buy what you call an adjacent product. An adjacent product. Now, what is an adjacent product? It's buying a product that is a complementary product. This cross-selling is quite important in the food business. Very, very important in the business. For example, if somebody wants to buy chips, why don't they buy an egg with it? Somebody wants to buy rice, why don't they buy a drink with it, or they buy Coke with it, right? So this is what we call cross-selling. You're buying something that is I'm not going to give an example because of time, but the concept of upselling and cross-selling can double your sales, like if you do it properly. So just imagine a scenario, right? 20 people walk into your store daily, and you are able to increase what they order by just 2,000 naira. Think about it. If 20 people come into your store, right, and you are able to increase what they order by 2,000 naira, how much do you have that day? That means if you're supposed to get 3,000 naira from your customer, they spend 5k. That's an extra 40,000 naira, and you did not even have to increase the number of people that walked into your store or entered your DM. Think about this. If 5 people come to your shop today, you market your business, you got 5 people to come to your shop, and those 5 people should come to your shop, and instead of buying something of 2,000, they buy something of 5,000. You have made an extra money with the same marketing effort. Right? So you can see how you can control how much revenue you make per customer through just your menu. The way your menu looks, somebody can look at something and be like, hey, this is this, right? What is this? And they're like, oh, this is this. I'll get this, because of how your menu is structured. Regardless of what they are seeing with their eyes, you might have a show glass, a heater that hits your food, jollof rice, fried rice. Regardless of what they see, that is, if you have a show glass, right, you need to have a menu, let's say, where customers are sitting, but the way your show glass should be structured, right? Your show glass should be structured to ensure that the things they are seeing, you're moving them up the ladder, right? It's very, very marketing is I don't say it's just on my menu, and it has made me a lot of money. I'm not going to lie to you, just because of how everything is structured and how I name my like I said, how I name my products, how I price them, even their position of this paper on the paper. It makes each customer more valuable. So I hope you are still with me so far. I really hope you're still with me so far. I'm trying as much as possible not to, because I'm really getting, I want to be done here by 9, but it seems, all right, let's just keep going. So you will most likely not get anything like this anywhere. That's just being honest. Everything I've shared with you so far has been the steps that has worked for me in my business. These are the 3 things that have worked for me in my business, right? And I really hope you're writing some of these things down. And there's another problem which I see many food businesses and other businesses in general, is the problem is, how do you get your customers to come back to you after they buy from you once? Okay, they cannot hear me. Can you hear me? Please, please let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. All right. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. All right. Okay. You guys are hearing me, so I'll just keep going. You have figured out how to position yourself to get customers to know you exist. You even got them to spend more money where you wanted them to place an order. But how do you get them to come back, right? Because your competition are going to be looking for those customers too. I usually hear things in my business that people say things like, oh, I don't have any competition, I'm just going on my own direction, nobody's at my back, all those kind of weird motivational talk. In business, it's not like that, right? You have competition. There are people, business is war, right? You need to be aware that it is war. You're fighting every day for your customer's attention. You're fighting for that particular customer, because if that customer does not come today, they are going elsewhere. And your competition are also fighting for the attention of that customer. So How do you get them to come back to you specifically? That involves being in their face so they don't forget about you. I always say this anywhere I teach, right? Is the fact that you need to ensure that you are constantly in the face of your customers. You are constantly in the face of your customers. I've shared with you marketing tips, I've shared with you marketing strategies, but there's something that you need to ensure that the people that have bought from you, you have to be always in their face. If not, they will forget about you, no matter how memorable you are. How would I explain this? No matter how memorable your food is, right? People forget. We're in a generation of short attention span. Everybody now is on their phones, is on TikTok. They swipe up and they're forgotten about you. So you need to ensure that they don't forget about you. And that is what we call retention. Retention. Okay. Cannot hear me. Um, so what's going on? I'm going to pause here. What's going on? Let's figure that out. Who can hear me? Who cannot hear me? Let's figure out this technical issue, if it's a technical issue. If it's a technical issue. All right. You cannot hear me. Okay. How about now? All right. Okay. People can hear me. So, if you cannot hear me, you can just go out, log off, log back in, and most likely, this is YouTube, so everything is going to be recorded, so you can continue from where you stop. That's why I wanted us to come here instead of going elsewhere. Right, so learning how to get people to buy from you again and again is what differentiates a lot of people with no customers to a business making millions. Right, the moment you get people to buy is one step. You now have to get them to come back over and over again. That's what differentiates a business with no customers to a business making millions. Right, so let me show you. If you run ads today, you use influencers, right? Whatever, all the strategies I've given you today, and you get 10 customers. You run ads tomorrow and you get another 10 customers, but those 10 customers come back to buy again, right? That means you now have what? 20 customers. Now, those 20 customers, ideally, it doesn't happen like that because there's what we call a churn rate. I'm not going to get into that, but there's what we call a churn rate. Ideally, there's usually a churn rate of, let's say, 5%, 10%, whatever. But let's say we don't have churn, right? That means you have 20 customers. Those 20 customers come back tomorrow, you have 30 customers, like that, without ever having to market again. This is the part where I'll tell you that your food matters. Your customer experience matters, the way you've packaged yourself matters to get people to come back again. But if you have figured out customer retention, it means you make more money. And in my business, I have many retention systems. Like I said, I'm a marketing business disguised as a food business. And I have used many retention systems to ensure that my customers keep coming over and over again. I think I've spent more than 1 hour. So, and I tell you that it works like magic. But these are one of the hardest things to implement because it takes awareness on what platforms to use and the strategies to have before you even begin. So, I hope we have gotten a lot of valuable information. I really hope we have gotten a lot of valuable information. There are a lot of platforms we can use. Let me just reiterate on this point a little bit. There are a lot of valuable information we can use to be able to get platforms we can use to be able to implement these strategies, right? And there are a lot of ones that I've used. Like there's so many that I've used. But I want to ask you, right? And I really want answers to this, right? if nothing changes in your business in the next month, right? In the next 6 months, like if sales still keep being inconsistent, you just keep doing things, you just keep guessworking, you just keep waiting and you hope and hoping. And if you're still relying on hope and you're still relying on posting, where will you be? Where will you be? Where will your business be? Where will your business be? I want you to think about it. Where would your business be if you're just hoping about stuff? You're just hoping that things will